Ah, beautiful friends, beautiful souls. I hope that you're having an amazing day. It is Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024, and the time has come once again to vibe with your tribe and feed that prediction addiction, baby. Just last week, Spirit was telling us and warning us that there would be incoming solar flares, especially right around this time period, the 22nd. And it wasn't the 22nd, it was actually this morning, early morning, that we saw something very rare take place with the sun, a quadruple solar flare. Quadruple. I was trying to find footage of it, but I just couldn't find it. But I found some other information about it. Very rare, and this could literally ignite another solar storm, bringing another prediction into fruition. Northern lights being seen in places that it's never or very rarely seen. Just last week, they saw the northern lights in Missouri and in Russia. Russia, I know they are used to seeing them there, I would imagine, but not in Missouri. Kind of interesting, right? So what is this going to lead to, and how is this at all going to, or can this affect earthquake activity? Taiwan was just hit again, back-to-back earthquakes yesterday on the 22 day, the 22nd, a 6.1 and a 6.0 magnitude hitting Taiwan. Last week, Japan was hit the day after Tuesday, last week's show. Japan was hit right in that area that Spirit pointed us to with the 6.3 earthquake. So the activity is really high still, and it's going to increase according to a Spirit. So I also keep seeing visions of a huge tsunami wave. Big one, baby. Really big one. And I see this huge tsunami wave, which I believe we are closing in on this coming into fruition. And I'm pulled to a specific area of the map that I'm going to share with you today that you're not going to want to miss. Speaking of Earth's activity, my past prediction of a massive volcanic eruption, remember that prediction? A massive volcanic eruption just occurred. Exactly as I saw in my visions, with a little bit more even, making it more intense. And this just occurred, causing evacuations, just as Spirit said. There'd be evacuations. That came into fruition in the area of concern that we were pointing at on the map as well when we did map scrying. Indonesia, right on the border of Indonesia and the Philippines, actually. They witnessed this massive explosion in the skies of the volcano, blasting 55,000 feet into the sky, friends. That is way up there, right? 55,000 feet in the sky. Good thing there weren't no planes going overhead at that time. They would have got knocked right out of the air. Remember, Spirit told us there'd be multiple volcanic eruptions happening all around the same time. So is that on our doorsteps currently with this big volcanic eruption in Indonesia? We're going to talk about that, today. Last week, we talked about the floods happening all over. I showed you footage of all these floods happening all over the planet, mainly in Dubai. Many media outlets utilize the Dubai floods, of course, as an excuse to push that agenda. You know, the one about the climate. Yeah, they've been saying it's all related to that in the mass media. And we come to find that that's actually not true, friends. Dubai government actually admitted that they did cloud seeding right before the big historic floods hit Dubai. Cloud seeding is what's actually responsible for the floods in Dubai, not the climate that they're trying to tell you. Shady, 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 friends. Shady, shady. So the truth has come to light, friends. Cloud seeding was responsible for those historic floods. Nothing to do with the climate, of course. Nothing at all. That's what happens when you mess with the weather systems. You don't mess with Mother Nature. So the same thing they did in California, if you recall, right before the big floods that hit California earlier this year. They did cloud seeding. We read the article here on one of the Tuesday shows. I just warned China not that long ago of severe flooding, a dam break, and even bridge being washed away in past visions not that long ago, and even a massive earthquake, all which have happened and are happening right now. The footage, what's happening in China right now is pretty shocking. Bridge being washed away, dams bursting at their seams. It's been pretty wild. And there's something bigger coming to China in the near future with record-breaking earthquake. I'm going to tell you about that today. In April's predictions, I stated that there would be major outages, mainly due to the Mercury retrograde, of course, happening this month, and cyber attacks, but still related to Mercury retrograde, which affects communications and electronics and motorized stuff. So it's just a given that we're going to have outages. So there was just a major outage in 4 states in the United States that had no 911 emergency access for a very long period of time. The systems were out for a long period of time, but why exactly? They're trying to say that it was a cut or severed line. A cut or severed line affecting 4 different states. I mean, it's possible. Again, it is Mercury retrograde. Things like that do happen. But is it really that, or is it perhaps another cyber attack test? Is it China testing the waters for future? I have no doubt they have been. Is that the case with the 911 thing? Well, actually, I found some other really wild information you're not going to want to miss today that was caught on radar in the state of Nevada. I'm going to show you that. It's pretty wild. And this could be potentially linked to the 911 call outages, which also happened in the state of Nevada, which makes this footage that I'm going to show you in a bit pretty shocking. I have also been seeing issues with outages with the weather radar systems. That's what the weather radar has been out. We talked about that last week, 2 weeks ago, with that system that was showing 80-foot waves coming in on radar. And then the radar weather system went down completely. No data at all for like hours. I think it was like 11 hours straight. No data. So what is going on with the weather radar systems? And what I'm going to show you again that was caught on radar in Nevada. Pretty wild stuff. And they always seem to come up with some type of an excuse, do they not? Even though we know that there's something much deeper going on, but what exactly? What exactly? Today we are going to cover all of these topics, along with at least a dozen specific new predictions that you are not going to want to miss on this episode number 114 of Tuesday's Prediction Update. And y'all know what time it is.
It's tea time, baby.
Beautiful friends, beautiful souls, Satnam, welcome, hola. I hope that you're having an amazing day. Again, it is Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. This is episode number 114 of Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time Predictions Update. And I'm so happy to be here with you today. Beautiful day. I actually had to pop my air on. Even though it's beautiful, this room gets really hot because the sun pounds through those windows. If you're new here, my name is Joseph Tittel, a.k.a. Spiritman JT, and I'll welcome you with infinite love and gratitude. If you're new here, down below in the description, you'll find the links to all my social media, including my newsletter. And new newsletter goes out at the beginning of the month. You're not going to want to miss it. It tells you the astrology, numerology, and everything that's going on, and you'll never miss any content that I put out because it will be listed in every newsletter, every episode, so you don't miss anything. Check it out down below. It's free. The last newsletter went out on the end of the month, last month, for this month. So the next one will go out next week sometime. So you're going to want to sign up for that. Really important. Also, down below, you'll find links if you are interested in shifting your assets into gold. Gold's up 10%, friends. That's a lot over the past year. Silver's up 10%. I think at least 10%. It might be 15%, but somewhere around there over the past year. So, you might want to check that out down below in the description. Help to support this channel, and I thank all of the members of our tribe that are out there to vibe. And if you want accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, you found the perfect tribe, baby. Smash that there, subscribe, and we welcome you to the tribe. And I thank all the supporters who make this free content possible for everybody else. I spend a lot of time, effort, and energy into just Tuesday's show, let alone all the other content that I put out. And it takes a lot of time, and I couldn't do that without all the support that I receive from you. And I am so grateful for that with infinite love and gratitude. So shall we move on to episode number 114
of tea time, baby.
First, I begin by wishing you all a happy full moon Tuesday. Today, we welcome in the very powerful full moon in the sign of Scorpio. Watch out, that Scorpio will sting you, baby. So this intense full moon energy is going to bring in emotions. It's going to bring emotions to the surface. You may be noticing that today. It may have even started a few days ago. This is going to highlight issues with trust, intimacy, and transformation. And it is a time to release, of course, like all full moons, a time to release all the things that no longer serve your highest potential, fullest potential. So with the full moon and the incoming solar flares, I would expect another major earthquake and perhaps that tsunami that I've had visions of, if you remember. And also we have that Mars conjunct Saturn, which highlights water that kicked in on April 10th. And look at all the floods and everything that's happened since. So this could make it even more likely that, again, we'll see more flooding across the globe, but even the strong potential of this big tsunami wave vision that I have coming into fruition. Tomorrow is the final day, woohoo, of the direct Mercury retrograde. Finally coming to a close, finally. And that's just the direct, though. We are going to step into that post-shadow of Mercury until May 13th, friends. You know, we're literally in retrograde half the year. It's like we're in it for 4 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever it is, 6, 7 weeks. Then we're out of it for 6, 7 weeks. Then we're back in it again. And yeah, the next one's the end of July. We go into the pre-shadow. Month of August, almost the whole month of August is direct retrograde. And then at post-shadow or early September. And then we have the final one that comes in the end of November into December. So that'll be interesting, especially here in the United States. So, yeah, we're finally stepping out of that direct Mercury retrograde, and the energy is going to lighten up quite a bit. Although, again, going out with a bang with this full moon energy, highlighting emotions and everything. So when it highlights emotions, this is when we begin to see people kind of lose their minds a bit. You know, people go out and pow events or whatever. So I would expect that that's already happening, because we get the whole effect of the full moon a couple days before and a couple days after. The whole full moon energy is literally like a week long. So, yeah, 3 days before, 3 days after, and the day up. So 7-day full moon energy. So today's Tuesday, so it came in, on Sunday, Monday, or Saturday, the energy started to come in. That full moon was glowing beautifully last night. I actually opened up my curtains, and even though I went to sleep, but still, it was nice to get up and see the moon shining through and lighten up the whole house. It was bright last night, really, really bright. So now that that's all coming to an end, right around the corner, we're moving into the month of May already. Can you believe it? Time sure flies, even when you're not having fun. And when you're having fun, it flies even faster. So I expect the month of May to be really, really amazing month. There's lots of astrological stuff going into play and all that's in our benefit to make amazing things happen. You're not going to want to miss May predictions. That'll be out probably on Monday. I think I'll probably put that out on Monday, next Monday, because next week is the 1st of May. I can't believe it. Another thing I can't believe is the solar flare activity. Just last week, Spirit told us to expect incoming solar flares, which also often, not always, but are often associated with ascension codes that are aiding into the awakening of people. And people are slowly but surely awakening. And it just, there's always going to be those that won't. There's just always going to be the sleepers, friends, the zombies. Just like the Hopi people say, the zombies. You're not going to be able to get them out of zombie mode. There's no cure for the zombieism. Zombieism, that's a good word. So not only did we just see the solar flares that Spirit said coming into fruition, we saw it last week, on April 16th, I believe it was, we had that solar flare. And then Taiwan got hit with the earthquake. Well, that was yesterday. The solar flares came in this morning, so I would imagine they wouldn't hit the Earth for, what's today, Tuesday, until maybe Thursday or Friday. So I would expect things and energy to become really intense. But it wasn't just a solar flare. It was a what NASA calls an extremely rare quadruple solar flare. Right? Interesting. Never even heard of such a thing. Remember, also Spirit said we would start seeing northern lights in places that we haven't seen it before. We said that last year, and it happened. Even in northern I think it was northern Arizona, they saw them. I wish we would have saw them here. That'd be really cool over Sedona, Arizona. That'd be awesome. Maybe. I wouldn't put it out of the picture of possibilities in the future, no matter where you live. So they just saw these solar northern lights from the solar flares and the magnetic storm that it causes in Missouri and all over Russia. Interesting. What's even more interesting is what they say about it. Sun spews 4 solar flares at once, raises chances of a geomagnetic storm. NASA has observed multiple solar flares erupting from the surface of the sun. Will it have an impact on Earth? Of course it will. In this rare event captured by NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory in the early hours of April 23rd, 23rd, 4 separate regions of the sun's surface exploded simultaneously. It unleashed a quartet of solar flares. This phenomenon, known as the sympathetic solar flare, occurs when widely separated active regions on the sun appear to be unrelated, but are actually linked to the invisible magnetic loops in the solar corona. Impact on Earth. According to spaceweather.com, multiple coronal mass ejections, CMEs, have erupted on the sun over the past 24 hours, with the most of them heading southward from the Earth's path. So the southern hemisphere, I would imagine, is going to get it. However, the Space Weather website notes that even if one of these CMEs grazes our planet's magnetic field, it would trigger a G1 class geomagnetic storm. The most likely dates for this potential impact would be the 25th and the 26th. So yeah, Thursday and Friday. I was right. That was a good guess. That was just a guess. Pretty interesting, wouldn't you say, friends? Pretty interesting. So Spirit says to keep our eyes on the skies so that we do not miss the odd, unexpected events that are still going to play out above us in the skies. Signs from the heavens. We know that even Jesus said that in the Bible, that Jesus said signs would appear in the heavens, which we have been witnessing some pretty odd stuff in skies. Even with aeroplanes, look what's been happening with them. I'll talk about them in a minute. But going back to things in the skies, Spirit says keep an eye on the skies because there's even going to be new discoveries in our night skies. And some, I was imagining that some of these we'd be able to see with our naked eye or with, a small telescope. Remember my channel predictions too, back in November, where Spirit said that people would gather in the streets to gaze and witness what's going to happen in the skies. And sometimes predictions take 2 years, 3 years to happen. But I don't think this one's going to take that long. Because whether you're aware of it or not, supposedly, according to scientists, sometime in the month of September, they expect a star to burst, creating a mystical event in our skies that everyone's supposed to be able to see. I wonder if this is what Spirit referring to in my channel predictions from October, November last year. I mean, I imagine that would be it. I mean, I'll be outside looking for it. I think that'd be, what is it called, a supernova? So they're saying that's going to happen in September. Many things will happen in September, say the spirits. Many things will happen. They did that in a sinister voice. Many things will happen in September. Guys are creepy sometimes, in a funny way. So aeroplanes take up our skies. I expect there to be several more scary incidents with airplanes in the skies. Today I saw a vision. Well, actually, I saw a vision last year of a plane in flames in the sky. Remember that vision I had? And I shared it with you. And then we saw that happen in the United States. Luckily, the plane landed and everything was good, but still, it was scary. Could you imagine being in a plane on fire? That would freak me out. It takes a lot to freak me out, but that would definitely be one that would freak me out, for sure. So I saw that again today, though. I saw that vision again this morning. And sadly, I see, again, another airplane in the sky that's on fire. And I just kind of got this strong feeling that they might not be as lucky as the previous plane that was on fire. Speaking of planes, and predictions are mixed in, but I always end with a list of predictions for those who are new here. So sadly, I do see another collision happening on a runway. Remember I said that? Was that the end of last year? I had that vision of the planes colliding, and then we saw that happen in Japan. A sad, unfortunate incident. Well, today I had a vision again of a smaller plane. It looked to me like it was a smaller plane involved in this collision that I saw at a airport, airfield, airbase, whatever you want to call it. And it looked like a little plane, and for some reason, I also felt the larger plane, for some reason, might not actually be full of passengers, which would be a good thing, because this is going to be, I would think, worse than the one that happened in Japan. When will that happen? Not sure. August comes to mind pretty strongly, but it could happen before that, too. Just like the volcanic eruptions that are happening, speaking of Earth activity. My past prediction and vision of a massive volcanic eruption occurring around a series of 3 islands, remember? And that was when I think that was my weather prediction video. Around a series of islands causing evacuations. That was in my predictions, and that came into fruition, and it just happened. And an area that I pointed to in my map scrying, the area of Indonesia and that whole, southwest Pacific area. Indonesia, Philippines, all in there. And that's where this happened. The folks in Western Pacific along the borders of Indonesia and the Philippines witnessed this massive explosion of Mount Ruang. I hope I said that right. I think I did. Ruang. Mount Ruang volcano. Blasted 55,000 feet in the sky. Check out this footage, friends. Check out this footage of this volcanic blast. And Mother Earth put out an amazing fireworks and light show spectacle. Check out the lightning shooting from the volcano. Absolutely amazing and astounding. Of course, volcanoes erupt all the time. But it's this kind of eruption is the ones that I see in my visions that I get from my spirits. My Holy Spirits. Remember, Spirit recently warned that we would see an eruption in the United States, and I believe that might not be until next year. I also had a vision of multiple volcanoes in the same vicinity erupting, which we still await to witness. Saw three of them erupting all in the same vicinity, where you could get it all in one camera. Oh, I saw 2 closer together, and the other one felt far off. That's right, I remember now. Yeah, there were 3. So I don't know where that's at. But also, I still warn our friends around Italy and Greece, because one of those volcanoes is going to burst. It won't be too bad and super concerned, but there will be nearby evacuations, according to the spirits. So, I also see an eruption along the small islands of Japan, which I had recently. Remember the one that was coming out of the water right on the edge? That was pretty interesting. That was earlier, January maybe. Spirit says that a small eruption will cause the earth beneath the Pacific to shake. This could be a sign that we need to look for prior to the next tsunami coming, to this big tsunami. So again, pay attention is what I felt with Spirit, that a small volcanic eruption would cause the earth beneath the Pacific to shake. And that could lead to the tsunami, of course. And still on the subject of the earth, because that's really the main subject right now, because there's so much going on with the earth. Earthquakes. So this morning we just had the solar flares, and I remember someone left comments. Gotta love some of them comments. Sun flares have nothing to do with earthquakes. Okay, you believe that. You tell yourself that. Because we see it all the time. So, if that's coming in on the 25th and 26th, that quadruple solar flare, I guarantee you there's going to be a massive quake somewhere. I'm thinking it might be China, actually. China jumping out at me, and that's in my specific predictions. I'll tell you about that in a moment. So Taiwan was just hit back-to-back earthquakes yesterday, a 6.1 and then a 6.0 magnitude. And this is going to sound a little strange, because it did sound strange to me, so I'm sure it sounds strange to you. Spirit says that the island of Taiwan is now shifting, like literally moving, completely moving. It's shifting. That's what Spirit showed me. So therefore, I would expect this to become some type of news in the future, not far off future, when the discovery that Taiwan is literally moving comes to light, because it will come to light. If Spirit's showing me that, it will eventually come to light. I thought that was interesting. And I was thinking, is it going to sink? I wasn't getting that feeling, but that was my thought. If it's moving, I could sink. Remember my visions of islands going underwater, which I believe is somewhere in the Solomon Islands or the Canary Islands, probably in those areas. But the earth is awake, baby. She's cleaning herself up. She's definitely cleaning herself up. So remember a few months ago, I warned the Taiwanese people that they were going to be hit by a very large earthquake. That was in my predictions. You may also recall that Spirit told us the cause would be from technology used by China to make that happen. And then it happened. Now, we don't know for sure 100% whether it was natural or unnatural. If we listen to what Spirit told us before it happened, I would go with Spirit on that one. So here's the thing that is odd, though, is whatever they did or whatever the earthquake did in Taiwan, it shifted. And the ones that are happening now are natural, 100% natural. And that's probably why it's moving. And whatever they hit it with, I don't know. Dews, probably. Mountain dews, or whatever the kind of technology that they have. So Taiwan has definitely got its hands full. They are being hit, and Spirit warned of those quakes. But now they're natural, Spirit says. Now the ones that they just had yesterday are natural. Last week, Japan got hit exactly where we pointed to with a 6.3. The activity is still really high. If you look at the earthquake map, what was it at this morning? 128. I look at the past week, 4.5s and higher. And, normal activity would be like 70, 80. It's like 128. It was up higher than that before. And it's going to go up higher again. Past 150, Spirit just said. When? Soon. Can you give us a date? We'd like to have dates. That'd be nice. Can't give dates, says the Spirits. So Japan had theirs. I also keep seeing visions of a huge tsunami, which I believe we are closing in on, and I'm pulled to a specific area of the map. I said it before, but I'm going to pull to that area, pull in around the area again, and that would be the area of Indonesia. I get pulled there very strongly, that whole area, even the Philippines. So even the Philippines could experience this tsunami that's coming. But I'm definitely pulled to that area of the Pacific, that tropical region area. And this may not be until the next energy shift retro cycles come, which the next one again would be August. And then the end of November into December. So they'd be times to really look for those events. But again, it can happen anytime, especially being that we have that Mars conjunct Saturn that happened on the 10th, highlighting water and floods. And look what's happened since the 10th of April. All the floods, even though there was cloud seeding with Dubai, it still brought floods. It still had an effect. So that's still in play. So I would expect there, to be more. So, and that's in some of my specific predictions as to specific areas that I am going to warn in a little bit. So, so during that next energy shift, I would expect it. Now, that could even come this weekend. That tsunami could come this weekend with that quadruple sun flare. And they said it was going to hit the south, so I wonder if it's going to hit in that area when those waves come in on Thursday and Friday of energy. I'm glad I'm off those 2 days. I bet you there are going to be days that you're going to want to take a nap. Maybe multiple naps. With the emotions, the full moon, all these flares coming in, and the retrograde going out with a bang today, tomorrow, whatever day, it's going out. Finally. Well, we'll still be in the post-shadow, though. Still be in post-shadow. So a warning to our friends in Indonesia, the Philippines, and that whole region of tsunami warning for you all. Ignited, of course, from the Pacific, from massive earthquake. There's multiple things Spirit shows me now happening underneath the Pacific, including eruptions. There's volcanic eruptions that are about to happen underneath the Pacific. And we will know when it happens, according to Spirit, because it will show on the surface of the sea. Interesting. August keeps still coming to my mind. August keeps coming to my mind strongly. I'm watching the hummingbirds and listening to the spirits. Got a lot of hummingbirds. So warnings to my friends down there in that part of the globe. And even part of the tip, the very tip where the volcanic islands are of Japan, could see tsunami waves. which wouldn't have there's not any people there, which is good. But people that are close to that tip could see some big waves. I also remind you that there's another eclipse crossing happening on October 2nd. Another one. I showed you pictures of it. I did it in my eclipse video that I talked about. October 2nd, I'm pretty sure is the date. And it's going to cross over the one we just had directly over the Pacific. No doubt it's going to ignite. So, yeah, some of this might not happen until the end of the year with this big tsunami. We always still have to be mindful of the fact that solar flares affect earthquakes. And we know that for a fact. And earthquakes affect tsunamis. And that quadruple seems to be a big deal. At least NASA is making a big deal out of it. So last week we talked about floods happening all over our planet. Mainly Dubai, and media outlets utilizing the Dubai floods is another excuse to jump on the climate agenda train. Choo-choo, chugga, 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 climate change. Blaming the floods, of course, on that in Dubai, until the Dubai government came out and admitted that they did cloud seeding right before that. Just like what happened in California with the big floods that they had earlier this year. They did cloud seeding and it backfired on them. Cloud seeding backfires on them quite often. You know, they even used cloud seeding way back during the Vietnam War. They used it in Vietnam to flood out the people. The Americans did that. Used cloud seeding back then. So now imagine if they could do that back then, before my time, imagine what they can do now, friends. Imagine what they can do now. And you would think, you know, if you're advanced enough to know how much cloud seeding you can do and not do, right? You would think they'd know how much whatever they spray or whatever, there's a limit. So did they purposely spray too much to purposely bring floods? I would not surprise me at all. And then again, media outlets jumping on saying it's connected to the climate and to the weather when it really isn't. So I just warned China not long ago of severe flooding. I warned China of a lot of things because a lot of things are going to erupt in China, according to Spirit, especially with the weather. That whole continent's going to shake greatly, says Spirit. I just warned China of severe flooding and, again, massive quake. And they did have that massive quake, a couple weeks ago, I believe it was. And they're having the floods, too. And the floods, check out this wild footage, friends. This wild footage of China and literally even a bridge being washed out, completely washed out. Wild, wild footage. Yeah. Chinese are struggling with those waters big time. Big time. So we see that coming into fruition, and a bridge apparently washed downstream in this flooding event that's happening in China. Many people on a live. Of course, China will never tell us how many exactly. And I wouldn't be surprised at all that China did their own cloud seeding and made it happen too. Wouldn't be surprised. No, Spirit says, no, they didn't. It's karma. Thanks for letting us know, Spirits. Thanks for letting us know. So there's something bigger coming to China in the near future, including a record-breaking earthquake and major rescue efforts to dig people from beneath the rubble. Parts of China are going to endure serious drought issues come the latter part of the year, all while other parts of the continent are stricken with consistent flooding. China is in huge trouble, according to my spirit guides, and they are going to purposely starve their citizens in the future. I don't know when in the future, but they're purposely, because they're storing food like crazy. China is storing and filling up food reserves like crazy because they got a plan. We talked about that plan. They're going to go into Taiwan. They're going to go in. Remember, Spirit told us multiple attacks that China would launch at the same time. I remember somebody saying in the comments, well, that wouldn't be, a good strategic move. Oh, it would be if you're trying to deter countries like United States or the UK from getting involved by setting off, say, cyber attacks and activating sleeper cells to bring chaos to countries that are allies to Taiwan so that when they go into Taiwan, there's nobody to defend them because we're dealing with our own stuff. Kind of like that $98 billion they just sent out to, that package, that aid package that most of it won't even make it there, so they could go build more beach houses, multi-million-dollar beach houses. Lewinsky is building a multi-million-dollar beach house in Miami, Florida. Why Florida? Why? What are you doing here? Why here? It doesn't make sense. You're a leader of the UKR. Why would you want to not stay there? Friends, they're just stealing that money. Did you know that money? Just under $300 to every citizen of America. 332 million American citizens could get almost $300 of a stimulus check. That's how much that adds up to. $300 for every citizen comes to 98 billion or 99 billion, but close enough. Close enough. To me, that money could be used to instantly take all of our homeless veterans off the streets, feed them and house them, and still have more than half the money left over to help others. Secure our borders, all that. Sorry, I went on a tangent there. That whole thing just annoys the heck out of me. The whole system, it's just so sad. It's just to keep the conflict going, friends. They're just feeding the money machine to the conflict purposely. Keep conflict. It's so negative and so evil. I say give peace a chance, friends. All we all saying. So going back to China, I see serious drought issues that are coming to parts, and other parts are being stricken with floods consistently. China, again, according to my spirit guides, are going to purposely starve out citizens in the near future while doing things like that were done in the great Second World Conflict. Over there in Germany, they're showing me they're doing stuff like that in China. Oh, that's not good. To their own citizens. Interesting. I don't know if they're doing that now, but they're showing me that that's something in their plans, I assume. It's just insane. And see, as they're stockpiling food. So this is when I also see in the future that people, when they start starving people out, you don't want to starve people out because that's when people get really, really hangry, right? We get hangry when we're starving. So China's going to be in big trouble when that happens because I see people of China making strong attempts to stop the CCP. Will they? Probably not. But they're going to try. Kudos to them for trying. They need to step up. We all need to step up. I see more flooding hitting the northern parts of California up through Washington State. And I also had repetitive visions of Los Angeles streets being flooded out. Now, I had that vision, and it did just happen in the past month or month and a half. So that did come into fruition. But Spirit showed it to me again today, this morning when I was doing all this for you beautiful friends. And I also saw high winds, so it wasn't just the waters in the streets. I saw high winds. I saw storm surge, like crazy, crazy storm surge. So I can only imagine that this is going to be a major hurricane hitting California this summer, especially around the LA area. So batten down the hatches, as they say, friends in California. Batten down the hatches. Get your boats ready. Ireland randomly popped in my mind. So I would imagine that this is Spirit warning the people of Ireland also of coming flooding events as well, including, and that would be the UK as well, including I saw rivers at a record flood level. This could also be very well related to hurricane type of storms. I know that that's not a word that you're used to up there. It's a word you're going to become used to. Hurricanes hitting random odd places that don't get hurricanes. And maybe you'll call it something different, but it's still a hurricane. Hurricane, typhoon, are all pretty much the same. It's a big one. High winds, big storms, big floods. Storms that they're not currently familiar with. Let's go with that. Storms you're not currently familiar with for our friends up there in Ireland. That would include Scotland and the UK and that whole little area of the globe. So back in April's predictions, there were, I stated that there would be major outages with all kinds of things, including, internet outages, cellular outages, and so forth. Well, I did not say 911, though. Even though there was an outage of the 911 phone system, emergency phone system alert in 4 different states here in the United States, Nevada being one of them. But why exactly? Why exactly? Because now they're claiming that it was a severed communication line. Yeah, that's very possible. I mean, again, retrogrades are notorious for stuff like that happening, But why would one severed line affect 4 states? Not more or not less. Just seems a little bit of a shady excuse if you ask me. And I have no doubt China's been practicing their cyber attacks. They did it in many places, including Vegas, Viva Las Vegas, which is going to get hit again. Remember, recent predictions, Spirit said that there was going to be another cyber attack, not just in Vegas, but against casinos everywhere. That would include Atlantic City and casinos, maybe even here in Arizona. We have casinos, native casinos. So 4 states with no 1-1. Now here's an interesting fact here, is what I'm going to show you in a moment. So again, is China testing the waters? Are they testing the waters to see what they can get away with? I don't think this is necessarily related to them. I feel like it's an inside thing. Spirit says it's an inside thing. Happened from the inside. It wasn't an accident? No, says Spirit. Absolutely not an accident. It wasn't a cut, severed line like they are telling us. So, I want to show you this footage. Hold on, let me pull it up. I'm trying to pull it up here. There it is. Let me turn the volume down. So, someone caught this on radar, and I find this very interesting. This was just the other day when they had all these outages. And you see the map here, and you see the lasers caught on the map right there. See the laser on the map going across the state? The whole entire state of Nevada? Look at that. Come on, friends. There's no coincidences. What is that? What is that? And then the weather systems go out completely? The 911 lines were down in Nevada, Texas, and what were the other ones? South Dakota. And watch, again, when you look at that, look at where it's pointing towards. The lasers. Just right towards those states. Don't you find that to be a little bit shady? I find that to be a lot shady. It's kind of like that thing that we saw coming up on the weather radar that we showed you 2 weeks ago. All of a sudden, and then the weather radar systems went down completely, which is definitely a Mercury retrograde thing for sure. Probably a glitch in their system. I don't feel like it was hacked. It was just their system was down. But what's with the lasers? What's with the lasers being caught on radar? We know that Dutchsin's caught lasers on radar too when he was observing the maps for the earthquakes. A couple years ago, they even took his videos down because of it. They were lasers that were setting fires in California. I think it was California. I think it was. But remember that? That was a few years ago. I think it was when I first moved to Arizona. So maybe 2020 when he caught that. I think it was back in 2020. Right after lockdown, I believe. Don't you find that interesting? I thought that was really, really interesting. So we also have been seeing outages, again, with the weather radar system. What else? There was something else that we were having outages on. Oh, but Spirit's showing me that there's going to be a hack attack on Facebook against Facebook, which would also be Instagram. They're going to tell you it's a software update, but it's a hack attack. And they're mainly going after Facebook in certain countries, United States, Canada, UK, the allies countries. So that's got to be a combination of China and Iran, right, Spirit? Right. So big Facebook outages and Instagram outages coming soon. They will try to hack the X platform, but they'll fail. They won't get far with that. It might go down short temporarily, but they won't get far on that one. But they will be pretty successful in certain areas with the Facebook, Instagram hack attack. Interesting. It's at no notes. It's my chatty spirits. In other news today, before we move on to some specific predictions for this Tuesday, April 23rd, Kennedy family supporting Biden. You saw that, right? Isn't that wild? Wild. I think we talked about that last week, but it was written on my notes. There was a comment someone left. A man unalived after a stranger randomly hit him in the neck with a knife, steak knife, in a casino in Washington. Spirit just warned casinos not that long ago that there were going to be big issues happening at casinos, and then outages at casinos, and even a casino heist. Remember that vision? That was interesting. It reminded me of Ocean's 11. You will eat the bugs, friends. You will eat the bugs, according to Tyson Foods now. Tyson Foods is announcing a partnership with Protex, right? You know, people were boycotting them before. Look, they closed the factory, fired thousands of employees, cut their jobs right away, and then went and opened up a new one and hired all illegal immigrants. I don't eat that garbage anyway. But please, friends, do not put your money into a company like that, especially when you hear about what they're doing. Do you know what Protex is? Protex is the largest manufacturer of bugs. Creepy, crawly bugs, friends. Tyson Foods announces a partnership with Protex for more sustainable protein production. Oh, God. Be for real. Tyson Incorporated, one of the world's largest food companies, has reached an agreement for a twofold investment with Protex, the leading global insect ingredient company. The strategic investment will support the growth of the emerging insect, oh God, it's so gross, ingredient industry, and expand the use of insect ingredient solutions to create more efficient, sustainable proteins and lipids for use in the global food system. Humans, bugs are not good for humans. I'm telling you, it will cause nothing but major health issues. You watch. It will lead to that. The strategic investment, oh, I read that already. Yeah, so anyway, that's what they're doing. Through the direct equity investment, Tyson Foods will acquire a minority stake in Protex to help fund the global expansion. In addition, Tyson Foods and Protex will have entered a joint venture for the operation and construction of an insect ingredient facility in the continental United States. Upon completion, it will be the first facility of its kind, of course, in food manufacturing byproducts in high-quality insect proteins. Oh, look, they try to make it sound good. High-quality insect proteins. Still sounds nasty to me, friends. Still sounds nasty to me. Our partnership with Protex represents the latest strategic investment by Tyson Foods and groundbreaking solution to... So, you know, in the future, you're going to be eating chicken nuggets that are not chicken. They're made out of bugs. That's coming. And they're not going to tell you. Or whatever they use for the breading, I bet you they use bugs instead. I bet you they already are, actually. They are, says the Spirit. They all are. That's why they invested, because they already found success with it. Remember, they don't tell us things until they do it. They tell us after they do it. You know, you saw Red Lobster's going bankrupt. They should, because their food's pretty nasty. They're actually owned by Darden Restaurants, who also owns Olive Garden. What's the other ones? They own a couple. But Darden Restaurants owns Red Lobster. At least they used to, unless they sold it. But they're going bankrupt, and Dollar Tree is closing more stores. But Joe Biden says our economy is doing great, and the jobs are increasing. Jobs for the illegals. They're getting all the jobs, at least at Tyson. Did you see that a Vietnam billionaire was charged with fraud and sentenced to hanging or whatever they do over there? I thought that was interesting. First time ever in history. Remember I told you the billionaire elites would begin to fall. Spirit told us that maybe even over a year ago for sure. Sometime last year, Spirit said we would witness billionaires starting to fall. And I mean, like, being taken out completely in one way or another. Well, there you go. That one in Vietnam. We saw the billionaire that supposedly sank with the Titanic, which we know they actually faked it to make it. Let's move on to some specific predictions. Next month, we move into the 4 Universal Vibration month. And I tell you, to expect there to be several odd outbreaks when it comes to, viruses or bugs or what have you, especially in places such as parts of Africa. And I see something breaking out within refugee camps and something eventually hitting the streets, the homeless populations on the streets or in their tent cities. I see something spreading rapidly around that as well, all different things. And in some small places, I would tell you that there's going to be some kind of lockdown. Not big, not like 2020. It's just one small place, probably somewhere in Africa or wherever this outbreak is. It'll be temporary. But be mindful when we step into May, and I'll say more about that in my May predictions. I see a vision of a large skyscraper building catching a flame. I see people being rescued while others won't be so lucky, unfortunately, because this fire starts on a higher level. So we'll just make an example. Say it's 20 stories, and it starts on the 15th floor, right? And you got 5 levels above it. So, and it goes fast. It burns very fast. The whole entire top of the building was engulfed in my vision. So this could be actually happening in India. India popped in my mind. And actually, I see another similar incident playing out either in New York City, Chicago, or both. I said last night I did a live Q&A. So if you put a Q in the A, if you put in a Q and you want an A, you got to go back and watch last night's live. I did questions and answers. We covered some good topics. I thought it went really well. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I enjoy hanging out with y'all, especially when we're live and we can chat. So I said on last night's show, but I'm going to say this again, that our friends in the UK and other places that rarely or even never receive hurricanes will soon witness hurricanes. I said it earlier today too, but it's in my specific predictions down here on the bottom of my list. They're also going to see tornadoes hitting many places that have never witnessed such things. Prepare for record-breaking heat in late July and August, although Spirit tells me that the media will try to push the numbers up. So be very aware, and we'll tell each other online what your temperature is in your city so that they can't try to push the numbers up. But Spirit says they're going to push the numbers up. You're going to make it look like way hotter than it actually is. It's going to be hot, don't get me wrong, but they're going to make it look way, way hotter than it is. Now, where it will be really bad that they can't exaggerate is going to be the Middle East, Spirit said. I mean, like, they're going to see lots of people suddenly unalive. It's because of the severe heat hitting parts of the Middle East coming up this summer. Spirit just said that to me now. So we will also see hot temperatures hitting parts of the planet come December and January. So I imagine that's the southern hemisphere. Likely in the southern hemisphere, but also Antarctica, where we will begin to see strange weather events hitting the Arctic continent. Now, I don't know what that would entail, but Spirit says it. I'm sure we're going to find out soon enough. I tell our younger college-age generation, not that they watch. Most of my watchers are age 35 and up. Interesting enough. There are some younger ones, but not many. We need more younger people to climb aboard and join the tribe, vibe with the tribe. But I want to tell the younger college-age generation to be very aware and steer very clear of campus protests. For soon, protests are going to go very sour. I see multiple pow-pow events taking place at a college campuses, especially in New York, somewhere in New York. My warning is very strong for our friends in New York and colleges in New York. Be very, very aware of a pow-pow event. A big one. I see visions of a pow-pow happening at a campus protest when a counter-protester orchestrates a sinister plan. That's the one that felt really bad. I mean, they're all bad no matter what. But one felt really like huge, big deal, you know, like dozens of people. The 23 comes to mind. I don't know if it's 23 lives or whether it's the 23rd, the date, or that's today actually. But that could be May 23rd. I don't know. But the number 23 comes to me. I think that might be something related to the casualty. But we'll have to wait and see. And hopefully it don't come true. We hold all campuses in love and light. Separately, I see a vision of another major protest, and it sort of reminds me of the George Floyd riots. As I see people throwing fire. You know, throwing fire from their hands, and I hear crashing glass, and and then I see fires and flares sweeping across the roads and structures as they're throwing fire from their hands, Molotov cocktails, I guess you would say. I see police raiding the protest, one of these protests, but also harming innocent people, including a member of the press who is going to be injured by law enforcement as they were only there to get a story. So, this reminds me of I think that was 2020 when all that happened. And also the George Floyd protests and looting. I can only imagine that this vision that I had of this today would be related to a similar incident of police maybe taking another man's life, being caught on film. I mean, I imagine that would it be. I hope not. Something's angering the people greatly. This may not be till the fall, because I'm really pulled to September and October time period. Yeah. So back to Taiwan, who already has their hands full, unfortunately for them. They already have their hands full with the earthquakes and issues with China, and China is going to pull a very dirty move on the Taiwanese people. I believe this will have some type of an effect on their shipping port, or ports, plural. I don't know how many they have. I would also warn the Taiwanese people that China is planning to bring harm to your largest port. Perhaps via a cyber attack. This could be also related to my past visions of seeing a ship. Remember my vision of seeing a ship full speed ramming into a port? This could be this could be related to that. That's the thing. And again, if you're new here, as time progresses, predictions from the past will come back up again, often for more details or as we approach that event coming into fruition. So this, to me, could be more information to that past vision of the boat speeding into a port that could have to do with Taiwan. I don't know but where it is, but Spirit does say that Taiwanese people need to be aware that China is going to pull a dirty move against their imports and exports. And if I were somebody in Taiwan, if I was part of the Taiwan government, I would be fighting to make sure that the military protects all their ports and all around their ports, like overly protects. Also, during last night's Q&A, I made mention of the future of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, I wanted to get that prediction out here on the show, because yesterday was a Q&A, but I wanted to make sure y'all, if you didn't catch the Q&A, that you get this, because I see a big collapsing coming to Saudi Arabia, and I see their current leaderships falling hard. Spirit says several will fall, one after the other. The first who falls will be taken from behind by his own family member. I see chaos coming to the Saudis, and I say, that's what they get. Karma, baby. Because, they come over here and did the state of Arizona and bought land, drill into our aquifers, take our water, and ship it back to Saudi Arabia. They are water thieves. And I don't even believe that they get away with that. Same with Nestle Waters. They do the same thing. They go buy land wherever they want, and they go in, they tap all the water out and sell it. And then they take all the water to the point in some counties, they've been notorious for draining their aquifers completely, leaving people waterless. So that's what Saudi's doing to Arizona. So yeah, karma to them. They need to fall. It's not cool stealing other people's stuff, especially water. Water is life. Water is life. So I see chaos coming to the Saudis, and it felt very karmic related. It felt very biblical at the same time too. And so karma's going to be knocking on their door really, really soon. And I expect the fall to occur between now and the year 2030. I feel like Saudi Arabia is completely, by 2030, is completely different. The country of Turkey keeps coming to my mind. As Spirit says, soon, very, very soon, Turkey's hands are going to be full once again. So first, I expect another massive earthquake to hit in and around Turkey. Separately, I see Turkish troops rambling around a military base as if it's an emergency or as if they're about to go attack, or both. Spirit says tells us to keep our eyes on Turkey. I told you, I swear that's where the Antichrist hides, somewhere in Turkey. I see Donald Trump collapsing and being taken to the hospital in an ambulance. His health is obviously quickly deteriorating due to all the stress and the unhealthy eating lately, according to Spirit. There is a lot of pressure around his heart area, and this could very likely lead to Trump being on the surgeon's table, perhaps to correct something in the heart, or perhaps to place a stent in his heart. But big problems. I wouldn't even be surprised to see this happen in the court. You know, and the mass media will run with it saying he faked it. Oh, it's all fake. It's just a show. You know, that's what they'll say. Of course they will. A person can only handle so much stress. You know, your body breaks down very quickly. Stress is the biggest killer. So Spirit says to expect a huge whistleblower to come forward around the White House. This is going to be huge, Spirit says. And I would imagine that this aligns with my past prediction. Through my channel predictions, a great shaking is coming to the White House. Remember that? And Spirit says a whistleblower is going to come forward around the White House. So I guess they're blowing the whistle on what's really happening in the White House. That should be interesting. I can't wait for that to happen. All before the election, says the Spirits. Thank you, Spirits. Thank you, Spirits. So as much as I dislike being the bearer of bad news, I must tell you that I have a vision of another bridge collapsing. And when I saw this vision, it wasn't being washed away with floods. So that wasn't the cause, nor was it being blown up by something. So I can only assume that this is a repeat of what happened to the Maryland Bridge. Or perhaps this could also be connected to a large earthquake, too. A large earthquake could cause that to happen. And remember, you know, I saw visions around the Golden Gate Bridge. I don't believe that's going to collapse, but I do believe they're going to have an issue there, and it's going to be shut down temporarily. So that could be part of it. That's going to be probably earthquake related, actually. Whatever happens to the San Francisco Bridge, Golden Gate Bridge. Why do they paint it red and not gold? Shouldn't they paint it gold? Just saying, friends. Just saying. Just saying. And that's all I'm saying today, because that's what I got for you for today. Another short version with lots of predictions to carry on and help feed that prediction addiction, baby. Yes, I don't have no mail to open. I have nothing else to talk about. Sadly, I must move on and upload this so that y'all can see it at a decent hour. But I thank you. Thank you for the chat caches that came through, the PayPal, and all the support that came through now in the past and that comes through in the future. I am forever grateful. Thank you for making this free content possible for all of us. It's important. Good information. Carry us forward. Remember, don't be scared. Be prepared. Knowing what's going to happen, we can shift things by holding positive things in the light. We can shift things in our own lives by holding that vision in the light. We are more powerful than most people realize. That's why when it comes to predictions, we can, again, shift things, make them go in a different direction. Like anything. We can focus on the light. We can stay positive and, again, not be scared, but instead be prepared. So, friends, thanks again for hanging out and vibing with the tribe on this beautiful Tuesday. I will see you in the near future. I will have something again by the end of this week. I don't know what or when, but by the end of this week, I should have more. And on Monday, I will have my May prediction video available. So you're going to not want to miss that. So thank you so much for hanging out. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Remember to celebrate life, celebrate you. Be kind to others as you wish others be kind to you. And remember to be bold, be true, be kind, be you, because you rock. Get out there and rock and roll, baby. It's been a long time since I rock and roll. It's time to rock and roll. Have a beautiful rest of your day, friends. Much love. Much love. Namaste. Don't go. Namaste.